Everyone expected the cheetah cub to die, alone, starving, barely clinging to life. But what happened next left even seasoned wildlife experts speechless. A predator did the unthinkable, and chose love over instinct. This isn't just a survival story, it's a breathtaking reminder that in nature, the heart sometimes makes its own rules. The gray wolf lay curled in the straw, her body wrapped protectively around 5 tiny shapes. For were her own soft-furred pups barely days old, their breathing shallow and quick, dreaming wolf dreams. But nestled between them was something else. Smaller. Spotted. A cheetah cub. Her heavy head lifted, yellow eyes calm. She leaned in, tongue rough but gentle as she cleaned the foreign fur with the same care she'd given her own pups. The cub let out a faint chirp and nuzzled closer, burying its face in the warmth of her belly. It should have been impossible. Predators don't raise their competition. Wild instincts don't make room for strangers. But here, in the stillness of a wildlife center enclosure, the laws of nature had quietly bent. No growl. No rejection. Just a mother, sensing need, offering comfort. There was no plan for this. No handbook. Just a heartbeat and a decision. She had space. He had none. And that was all she needed to know. The heat shimmered off the Serengeti plain as 2 rangers approached a silent form stretched beneath an acacia tree. The mother cheetah lay still, her golden body broken, the aftermath of a territorial clash with a lion fresh in the sand. Beside her, a single cub trembled, ribs sharp beneath his skin. His eyes were wide but unfocused, breath shallow. He chirped weakly, more air than sound, then collapsed against his mother's side, too young to understand she wouldn't wake. One ranger knelt, pressing a hand to the cub's flank. Barely warm. Minutes mattered. The radio crackled. We found one, barely hanging on. There was no debate. No time. If they left him, he would die alone in the dust. They wrapped him gently in a towel, shielding his body from the sun, and ran. Luna stood as the door to her enclosure creaked open. Her ears perked, muscles tense. She had only just given birth days before, and already her instincts to guard were sharpened to a blade. The rangers moved carefully, cradling the limp cheetah cub in gloved hands. Luna's golden eyes fixed on it, unreadable. They set him down a few feet away and stepped back. For a long moment nothing happened. Luna approached slowly, head low. She sniffed once, then again. Her nose brushed the cub's side. He stirred weakly, the scent of milk in the air. A full minute passed. Then Luna nudged him, not away but closer. She turned, curled her body protectively around the cub, and guided him toward her belly. A ranger wiped his eyes, blinking fast. No words. The wolf had made her choice. They named him Dash. In the weeks that followed, the little cheetah grew stronger, nestled among 4 wolf pups who never questioned his place. He learned to crawl beside them, tumbled in their games, and followed their wobbly legs through tufts of grass, always just a beat behind. He tried to howl when they howled, though his voice came out a strange chirping squeak that made the caretakers smile. His paws moved differently. His reflexes were quick, but his body, long and light, didn't quite match the rough-and-tumble energy of his siblings. Still, he didn't notice. When play got too rough, Luna would step in, placing her massive paw between Dash and the fray. She'd nudge him gently, like she understood his limits, as if to say, "It's all right, you're one of us." He believed it. And maybe in her eyes he truly was. By the time the pups were wrestling through the underbrush with thick limbs and growing strength, Dash had changed. He was taller now, his legs too long, his spine too flexible. He moved with a silent grace the others didn't share. But it wasn't just his body that stood apart, it was his spirit. He'd begun to sit apart at mealtimes. While the wolf pups tore into their bowls with noisy delight, Dash hovered at the edges, eyes lowered, unmoving. At first they thought it was illness. Vets checked him. No fever, no pain. Just stillness. Luna tried to coax him. She dropped meat at his paws. He turned away. Days passed. Then a week. He grew thinner. Quieter. Dimmer. The caretakers watched helplessly, afraid to say what they were thinking, that they might be losing him, and this time, love wouldn't be enough. It was just after dawn when Rebecca, a volunteer on morning rounds, heard an unfamiliar sound, not a howl but a series of soft, high chirps, almost musical. She followed it, heart picking up pace, to the far end of the facility. And there he was. Dash had slipped through a gap in the fencing, barely wide enough for his slim frame. Inside the neighboring enclosure stood Thunder, a large, older male cheetah recovering from an injury. The two faced each other in stillness, not tense, not afraid. Just watching. Thunder chirped once. Dash answered. Then slowly Thunder stepped back from his food bowl, leaving space. An invitation. Dash hesitated, then moved forward and lowered his head. He ate. Rebecca didn't move, barely breathed. It wasn't just hunger that had brought him here. It was something deeper. Recognition. A thread of instinct finally tugged loose. Dash had found another part of himself, the part no wolf could give. The breakthrough with Thunder changed everything. Under careful supervision, the team began easing Dash into longer visits with the older cheetah. At first he was awkward, his movements too clumsy, too playful in a way Thunder didn't quite understand. But Thunder was patient. He didn't correct with force, only example. He would crouch low in the grass, tail still, eyes locked on a moving target. Dash watched, then mimicked. The instincts were there, buried but waiting. Day by day the change came. His stride lengthened. His muscles stretched in new ways. He began to move like a cheetah, not a wolf. But the past wasn't forgotten. Each evening, Dash still returned to Luna and the pups. They greeted him with wagging tails and soft yips. Luna licked his face as if he'd never left. Dash now lived between two worlds, learning who he was while never letting go of where he began. On quiet afternoons, Dash would pause near the fence line, where Luna waited on the other side. She'd spot him first, ears lifting, and let out a soft, low call. Not quite a howl, something gentler. He always answered with a chirp, pressing his nose to the mesh until she did the same. His wolf siblings would race up behind her, tails wagging, crowding the fence to greet their strange, spotted brother. It wasn't confusion. It was connection. Though he no longer slept in their den or played their games, Dash was still one of them. And they, the wolf who raised him, the pups he grew beside, would always be part of him. Some bonds aren't about blood. They're about time, care, and the quiet way love makes room for the unexpected. Two families. One heart. A life shaped by both. The crowd pressed in close along the edges of the enclosure, hushed with anticipation. Months of recovery, training, and quiet transformation had led to this moment. The gate swung open. Dash stepped out into the open space, muscles coiled, eyes scanning the grassland ahead. For a second he stood still, and then he ran. Not trotted. Not played. Ran. His body stretched low to the ground, spine flexing like a spring. In seconds he hit 40 miles per hour, blurring past gasps and flashes of cameras. The wind caught his fur, his feet barely touched the earth. It was pure instinct, finally released. But then something unexpected. He slowed, turned, and came back. Near the edge of the enclosure, behind a secondary fence, stood Luna and the wolf siblings. He trotted to them, face calm, eyes soft. He pressed his nose against the barrier. Luna did the same. The crowd went silent. No one moved. Dash knew who he was now. But he hadn't forgotten who held him when he didn't. The fundraiser that day exceeded every hope. Over $200,000 poured in, enough to expand rescue programs, train rangers in new orphan care protocols, and support sanctuaries across the region. Thunder, once wary and withdrawn, now moved with confidence. He had found purpose in teaching, in connection. And Dash, lean, fast, and radiant in his spotted coat, became more than a survivor. He became a symbol. Schools visited. Conservation talks were held. People who had never thought twice about cheetahs listened, moved by the tale of a cub who grew up among wolves. And through it all, Luna remained close. She would often lie in the sun, eyes half closed, while Dash played in a nearby enclosure, older now but still circling back to her. She watched him not as an outsider but as a mother watching her son. Because in the end, family isn't about matching fur or shared blood. It's about who shows up when you need them most, and chooses to stay. If this story moved you, please like, subscribe, and share for more true animal stories.